And welcome to another episode of Kitchen Talk. I'm Eric Davidson.
And I'm Terrell Story. Once again, we're not in the kitchen, and the cricket is gone.
And the cricket is gone, thankfully. It passed away. I don't know how.
I hope it ran away.
Okay.
Yes.
Or it could have died because they probably have short lifespans.
That's an interesting point. We'll have to investigate that. But
Yeah.
there's no cricket sounds today. There's also no Matthew with us today. But we're just sitting after hours, just cleaned up and exited the kitchen. And today we're going to talk about what, Mr. Eric?
Okay, so
Did I put you on the spot?
yes, you did, but we kind of sort of, because we did discuss this beforehand.
We did.
So, this sort of explains why we didn't continue Kitchen Talk within the later school year and throughout the summer.
It's been like a big gap between
Yes.
the last episode that we did and the previous last episode that we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it has been rough at times, but I've gotten through.
And my father was diagnosed last fall with cancer, and he did pass over the summer, and I had taken some time away to actually help him through that process. So we both have had a really long, hard few months, and we kind of wanted to edge into it a little bit today. We may not give all specifics, but we're just going to
Yes.
kind of talk about.
We're going to sort of shy away from that because this is the internet and anybody can access this.
But we do want to identify with people
Correct.
who might be caught in a crisis or a trauma or some other hurdle that just seems like, where does this end, or how do I get through this, and where's my strength? Is I just want to give up, or it's going to be impossible to get through this, or whatever it is.
Yeah, this is for certain. You're not alone. There are people out there who are willing to support you, and it was.
Sometimes they're fast, right on the cusp, and you find them, or they find you.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are some gaps of time that really seem that you are isolated and nobody is connecting. At least for me, there was some of that.
Yeah.
Part of that was on me too, because I also would pretend that everything was okay and try to push through, when in fact I was kind of crumbling it inside. And still sometimes I kind of go through that.
So on my end, would you mind if I sort of described
I'd be happy for you too. Sure.
a manic state of mind?
Sure. Go for it.
Okay.
This is your story.
Let's see. Do you know the sort of adrenaline you have on a roller coaster or something?
I love roller coasters. So.
Okay. So entering into a manic state is like that, except you're not on a roller coaster and your adrenaline's going like crazy, a million thoughts at once. But I wasn't able to concentrate or do math, like simple numbers, and it was not great. It had serious drawbacks. So
were those the first signs that were noted?
I think I was. There was another detail that is a bit too dark to share.
That's fine. That's where we're at.
But that was the key thing.
Okay.
So.
So in conjunction with some other dark things, this was like an obvious
Yes.
piece that came forward.
Yes.
So you said it was kind of like a roller coaster, and I said I love roller coasters. So then we
Yes,
went into this and
I was like, oh, this is great, and like.
So you can't see his expression right now, but it's like his eyes are like, whoa,
Yes.
like wee.
And
so there's a strange.
I was like, sort of staying up all night, but then getting up in the morning, it's like, I feel rested. And
So kind of I've never been high, and I'm not. I'm assuming you haven't been high, but kind of a natural high.
For the record, I have never had drugs,
Okay,
and
sorry.
never will. I have prescription medication.
I didn't mean it to go there. I just meant
So-
that's.
I just want to make that clear.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, no problem.
Me too. Okay. So, but it was kind of an emotional high
Yes.
then,
Yes.
but then you couldn't put things together.
Yes. The sort of creative, inspirational part of my mind was, it was beautiful.
So it was like
But-
on overload.
No, I think it was really great, but my thoughts weren't like organized enough because I had like I was I got myself ready for bed last night, but I was trying to not last night. That night,
Right.
I got pieces of paper and I started writing one part, and it's like, I think, write another part, complete, write down, this. So
So
I-
everything was firing.
yes.
And you were trying to keep up with it.
It was a million thoughts at once, and writing multiple things. So,
Wow. It's a lot of things to juggle.
Yeah.
So then that happened, and then how did you? Shortly after that, I know you got started seeking for help or trying to figure out what was up, right?
yes.
Okay. So we kind of talked about who was there for you. How did that happen?
Yes.
What was that experience like?
It was kind of crazy because I would say I was in a sort of situation that boy cries cry wolf with my parents, and I thought they were capable for catching on, but felt like until the last minute they did, and I think they also told me it's like parents intend to wait before the last minute, like it's when it gets worse. So
Well, I am a parent, so
yes,
I think that from my experience, I haven't had that particular experience with any of my children, but I think I relate to what you're trying to say. Sometimes, as a parent, we either overreact or we underreact,
yes.
and so
I felt
those are
this-
strange little balances as a parent to know, like, okay, am I imagining this? And if so, okay, I'm just going to wait. And you wait and you wait and you wait. And fortunately, your parents did not wait too long. But I can relate to some of that as a parent and go, well, when do I step in and what do I do?
Yeah. So real after that they it's like, oh man, so we need to get you to the hospital. So good friend of mine, he's like a counselor. So he came in he talked with me, started using this sort of method that he wanted me to interrupt him to get my point across. That was kind of testing me. So yeah, it was quite an experience. It was it was spiritual too.
Okay.
So and then after I went on my medication and all that, around March and April of this year, it was very crummy, cold, wet weather, but I was really down in the dumps and depressed, but it took a lot of support, and I've gone through that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. I wasn't around like I normally am either.
Yes.
And there was a big
Yes.
gap that was there.
He wasn't around because he was busy dealing with his dad. So
Yeah.
So we passed the 10-minute mark.
Oh,
Your turn.
okay. So thank you for sharing that. And I know some of the stuff
Yes.
is very personal and hard to
Yes,
share.
yes,
So
but I
um,
feel
I-
I did it well.
good. I appreciate that vulnerability. So a little bit different from me. My dad is 74 or was 74, and he and my mother live 2 hours from the area that I live in, and I'm a teacher here at St. James. And so anyway, and I'm an only child, and my mother doesn't drive, and they live in a rural community, and a lot of the hospital visits and everything, specialists and all that, were 2 hours from them. So I live 2 hours from my parents, and then it's another 2 hours in another direction to transport my father and my mother to like these specialist appointments to investigate what's going on with my dad's body. He had been diagnosed with esophageal or esophageal, depending on who you are, how you pronounce it, cancer.
Apricot.
There you go. There was a point where we weren't sure what was going on, if it was benign or not, and the first report came back kind of inconclusive. And then the doctor was like, "This is. I've seen these too many times. There's no way that this is not malignant." And so then they had to go in and do it again. And he just went a little deeper and took a few more. Anyway, it turns out it was definitely malignant. Two different ways of approaching it, either with chemotherapy or some other processes. Anyway, options. He decided to do like a every 3-week process where he would go in for some treatment and then get a shot and then take pills to deal with it. He went for one round and partial of another, and it made him so sick and depleted him so bad, and he got in a state of just pain and anguish. And one night, he's like, "You got to do something. Get me out of this." Blah blah blah. And so anyway, ended up. This is months into it. I'm going very fast forward. Months into it, and took him to the ER, and they began to approach it in a different state. And then hospice was contacted because he decided to no longer continue with chemotherapy, which meant that it was a terminal disease at that point, for sure, because he was not going to do anything else with that. So I made the tough decision to take a leave of absence from school, from teaching, and that was at the end of January or beginning of February. So I decided to go down 4 days a week to my parents and help them, and then come back to St. James, to my home, where my wife and daughter live, which is my home as well, and it's my daughter's senior year. So I was basically living in two worlds. 4 days a week I was dealing with my father and the progressive spiral down, and kind of just became really tough. It was a hard battle, watching him deteriorate right in front of me and not know how or what to do about it.
So could you pinpoint one specific moment where it's like, oh my, I just feel helpless?
Well, there are two things that were happening. One of the things I just want to point out, it was like, again, living two worlds.
Yes.
Because I was dealing with death strongly at my parents, and then as I would drive back to St. James, my home, to be with my wife and my daughter, I wanted to be as positive and up as possible with them. And my daughter was in a lot of activities with soccer, with Winter Guard, and so there were performances weekly that I would come to cheer her on and to watch and see and be involved in that. It was just exhausting from both extremes. So I tried to be a cheerleader for life at my home in St. James, and then I was like a cheerleader to survive, but it was all about death and facing it in my parents' realm.
So,
One of the things that you asked, I remember helping my dad many times go to the bathroom, and there was like maybe 10 times through the middle of the night that he would think he had to go to the bathroom, and it was to a point where he couldn't get up on his own, and so it was always someone helping him. So Mom and I were kind of in shifts. I would just sleep in the room with him and wait for every minute that he was like, gotta go, get me to the bathroom. And one of the most helpless, surreal moments was actually, it's weird and strange and beautiful at the same time, was standing with him. Like, I remember holding my daughter, and you know when you like teach them to dance, they're standing on your feet.
yes.
So to get my dad to move in sync with me, basically that was our waddle back and forth. And I caught vision of this in our bathroom mirror one night, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And we're just like, and it was strange. And I like had to hear music in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going insane here. Like, how can I be doing this? But like, I was just fully embracing him and holding him against my body and swaying and waddling back and forth to get the turn in the right position to either sit on the toilet or get up, get him back in his wheelchair, those kinds of things. And I'm not sure that actually addresses your question of when did I feel most helpless, but
No.
those were sometimes like that, because I realized I'm not going to make this better.
Yeah.
I can only
that
continue just to be here and exist.
That actually answered my question perfectly. Just want to interject on a couple of things. Let's see. What was the one thing I'm trying to remember? Oh yeah. Being a cheerleader or something like that. So, putting that in a manic state, like energy-wise, you would be helpful, but decision making, no sir. So and that sort of situation that just like, oh, am I going insane? I think it was probably a mixture of how you pictured it and how you intentionally got yourself in that situation, because how else are you going to carry him?
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a mind over matter thing, and
yes.
It's almost delusional at the
Yes.
same time. And I know it sounds weird that it's like it was beautiful, but it was horrid at the same time. You know, I'm like, really? I am grateful. I want to say that I'm that was one of the toughest and the most suckiest things I've ever had to do. But yes, I also feel highly honored that I was able to be so connected with him in that way. We haven't always been that close. We're different people, but and we didn't always get along during that either, because sometimes his mind was in a different state during that whole process. And it seemed like at 6 o'clock at night or 6:30 or so at night, I actually, in his mind, became someone else.
Mm-hmm.
He would actually call me by my uncle's name at a certain time, and for a while we corrected him and would tell him, no, that's not, I'm not. And then finally I'm just going with it. I'm going to be my uncle. Mm-hmm. And so we would have conversations, and I was like, I sure hope I don't have to tell my uncle everything that he says. So anyway, just kind of some of those, again, delusional things that your mind goes into different places, and it's a complex thing.
Yeah.
We talked briefly about mentioning our support system.
Yes.
You know?
So coming through this, my dad really came to understand me, and he was willing to take time off work to spend time with me, and that was a really good support. So I've graduated now. And
Yay! He's a graduate.
And so
Boom,
I've
boom, boom, boom,
So-
boom, boom. Okay.
so I was homeschooled, so that brought me into like I was also out of a job, so I was sort of isolated. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I got out. I got a good support system down here at the Firehouse Coffee Shop, so that's been very
Yay.
helpful. So do you have anything else to add? Because I'm gonna finish it on a lighter note.
Just enjoyed. I say enjoyed. Appreciated the support, like our school system, my job. Like
Yes.
I ran out of vacation and sick leave time, but there were people who kicked in to donate some of their time, so that I did not have to do the process completely without pay. There was a couple of the months that were not full pay, and that was kind of tough financially.
Yeah.
But there were some gaps that were filled in by people in that way. Other family members in my hometown that came in to fill gaps on weekends and things, so that I could come and celebrate my daughter and her accomplishments as well. My wife and my daughter for pushing through in my vacancy, in my absence. You know, I walked away from them. They lost me, and so I was torn as I walked away from them, and then when I walked away from my mom and dad, you know, there's another like, oh my gosh, I'm walking away from these people. I'm walking from these people. I'm walking away from these people.
Like
Yeah,
like
and then I had
being split in two because because
literally.
for me going like the up and down.
Oh, the cycles, yeah.
I didn't necessarily. I did feel conflict, but I didn't feel ripped apart. I just felt I was being bounced up and down like because
It was like a back and forth
both-
yo-yo.
both manic and depressive states wear you out. So
One more support system for me. I mean, I believe in God, my prayer time with
Amen.
Him, and those the spiritual support that was there, the prayers, encouragement from people who weren't nearby, and then again at the firehouse, Mama Lisa and the crew that's there.
Yes.
That
They're
other
so
teachers in our community, a couple of youth workers stepped in to keep the firehouse going, and then the student crew just filled in the gaps. So, you know, all those things was neat to see the body come together in crisis like that and help us push through.
yeah.
So.
Also, my church was very supportive and listening to what I was going through. So, let's see. So, let me finish off with my experience during my depressive episode. So, I think the medication was taking me on a sort of toll. I was wanting to eat more, but not move around. So that was putting a little poundage on the stomach.
He's very not poundage wise, just so
Yes,
you know.
I'm a little scrawny.
No, he's not scrawny. Neither of us are scrawny. We are lean, mean operating machines. Okay. There you go.
So anyway, I decided, I should take on jogging to sort of pound out as you switch foot, you're like pounding. Do you get that?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept doing that like every day, just giving it my all. And there was like this one day I went out. It was cold. It was wet, and then I feel it start to sprinkle, and it's like I'm out here already. I'm gonna do it, and it starts to pour and pour, and it's like. I've had it. I am going to punch this in the face, and I am going to finish this. So I finished my jogging in the pouring rain. By the way, I was wearing a Spider-Man Homecoming hoodie, and then That's Charles Timer. Spider-Man Homecoming hoodie and a Napoleon Dynamite T-shirt. So, yes. So,
Fashion diva.
fashion diva. Yeah. So, I was happy I made it.
Pounded it out.
Yes.
And I just know you're on the other side of it right now as well.
Yes. I've been in perfect mental health for over a
It's
month.
been awesome working back with him at the firehouse as well. We pick these podcasts up and enjoy those times. And I'm back in the classroom. It's a different journey,
Yeah.
but it's also good. It's good stuff.
Afterwards, you do see things differently, but you're
And-
grateful that God has put you in the place where you are.
And people around you to support you. One of the things that for me, it feels like sometimes I'm in a new skin
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't quite fit yet. It's like I'm still the same person, but like I'm wearing something new that doesn't quite fit me all the time, and I kind of keep adjusting here and there every once in a while.
Change is turn that face to strange.
And with that, we're gonna pound it out again,
All right.
and wish you well.
Thank you for
And
that one conversation.
oh yay!
That's
Oh,
for being my support system, and I hope vice versa.
I felt it very much.
All right.
Absolutely. So we hope you have support with whatever you're doing and whatever you're going through. If not, seek it out a little deeper, and hopefully you will find. Amen.
Hallelujah.
That was good. All right. We're out.
We finished
Thanks.
each other's sandwich capsules. All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.